Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So in today's reading vlog I am going to be reading books by authors who I've previously given 5 stars, and I'm really excited about this vlog. I did a similar vlog last year that was pretty successful. I'm pretty sure that I at least liked all of the books that I read, which makes sense. If I've read books and loved books by an author before, then it's not guaranteed, but there's a good chance that I'm going to like other books by them. So I've picked out 4 books that I'm hoping to read in this vlog. One of those books I have actually already finished, and then another I've started, and then 2 I'm hoping to get to later in the week. The book that I've actually already finished is And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer by Fredrik Backman. So I have read 3 books by Fredrik Backman. I really enjoyed A Man Called Uwe and Beartown. I gave both of them 5 stars, and then I read Anxious People and I wasn't the biggest fan. I think I gave it a 3 stars, but it was more the humour that I didn't like in that book, and it just felt like a very different tone to the other 2 books that I loved. However, I read this yesterday and I'm happy to say I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. This is a very short novella about an older man who's losing his memory, and it's about him coming to terms with this, and also it's about him explaining how he's feeling to his family, so his son and his grandson. It's a very emotional story, as you can probably imagine, and it made me cry. I was holding in the tears right up until the end when I just couldn't hold it back anymore. So yeah, I gave this 4 stars only because it didn't quite give me that 5-star feeling, but it's a very short novella and I very rarely give novellas 5 stars, but I would recommend this if you've read books by Fredrik Backman before and you're interested in this, especially if you're looking for a short read. I would actually recommend this if you're looking to get into his books but you're not sure if the writing style will be for you. I think this would be a good starting point if you don't want to commit to a full-length novel. The next book that I have already started is Yellowface by RF Kuang. So I have read all of RF Kuang's books, I think. I really liked the Poppy War series. I gave The Dragon Republic, which is book 2, 5 stars. Didn't love The Burning God. I mean, I liked it. I think I gave it 4 stars, but I felt like it was a bit rushed at times. And then I read Babel and I gave Babel 5 stars. It was one of my favourite books of last year, so I have been highly anticipating Yellowface. It doesn't come out until May. I've got an arc of it through NetGalley, but I started this last night. I'm already, I think, about a quarter of the way through and I'm really liking it. I can see this not being a book for everyone because the main character is ridiculously unlikable. The main character is called June and she's a struggling author, and at the start of the book she witnesses one of her author friends, who's more like an acquaintance, they're not really friends, but her friend dies in this freak accident and June decides to steal her manuscript, rewrite it and pass it off as her own. June is white and her friend Athena was Asian, and this book is about Chinese soldiers during World War I, I think it is. And it, yeah, the story kind of goes from there. Obviously I'm not that far into it, but this is a really interesting writing style because it's told in first person point of view, but also kind of second person, because it's as if this main character June is addressing the audience and explaining what happened in this situation. The main character, like I said, is not likable, but she's been deliberately written to be that way, and I think this is so clever. I love books that are about writers or authors or the publishing industry, and this is, yeah, it's been really interesting so far. I think if you don't like unlikable characters, then you might struggle with this book, but I find it really interesting being inside the mind of a character like June, where she's doing stuff that I don't agree with, but I'm seeing her thought processes and how she's justifying everything, and it's so clever. I am really excited to carry on reading this. I have a feeling it's going to be my favourite RF Kuang book so far. The other two books that I'm hoping to read later on this week are The Skeleton Key by Erin Kelly and Happy Place by Emily Henry, but I'll tell you more about those books once I get to them. In terms of my non-reading plans for this week, I'm actually going down to Brighton tomorrow for work, and then I come back on the Wednesday evening, and then later this week I'm going into Birmingham to see Titanic the musical with my mum and my sister. So yeah, it's going to be a really busy week, but I'm hoping I can fit in lots of reading around that. To be fair, when I'm in Brighton, I'm going to be by myself. So other than the conference, I'm going to have a few hours tomorrow evening and maybe some time when I'm on my lunch break to get some reading done. So yeah, we'll see how this week goes. If I have to extend it into next week, then it's not a big deal. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the vlog. So I just sat down to film this update, and I realised that because I'm filming on my phone, it means that I don't have access to my notes. So we're gonna do the best that we can with this update. I think this is just going to be a general update anyway, rather than a reading update. But I am in Brighton, as you hopefully will have just seen. I got here a few hours ago, and I have been wandering around because I really wanted to go for a walk. It took a lot longer than I was expecting to drive down here. So by the time I got down here, I was tired, my back was hurting, and I was hungry. So I just went for a little walk to get something to eat. I went to this really nice vegan restaurant actually that does really nice pizza. So yeah, it's been a nice evening so far, and now I am back to do some reading. I'm actually now over halfway through Yellowface. I think I'm around 60% of the way into it, and like I said, I don't have access to my notes. So I'm going to do my best to summarise how I'm feeling about this book at this point. I can tell you that I'm really liking it. It's very addictive, and when I'm reading it, I don't want to put it down, so I think that's always a good sign. This is very different to RF Kuang's other books, which I was expecting because the other books that I've read by her have been fantasy, whereas this, I think, is being marketed as a literary thriller. And I don't know if I agree with that. It does have that tense atmosphere that you expect from a thriller, and it might get more thrilling towards the end. But so far, I don't really know how I'd describe this book. It's not quite a thriller, but I don't know what other genre it would fall into. I think if you have no interest in the publishing industry at all, then you might find this book a little bit boring, because that's basically what it's about. It shows the whole process of publishing a book. It talks about what happens afterwards. It talks about the online book community and how toxic Twitter can be, and I love it. I'm really intrigued to see how this is going to end, because I don't know whether it's going to have a satisfying ending or whether it's going to be more open-ended, but I'm excited to find out. I'm going to settle down this evening and read a little more. I might try and finish it. We'll see if that actually happens though, because obviously I don't want to be up too late when I've got to get up in the morning for my work conference, but I do have actually an hour and a half for lunch tomorrow, so I could read during my lunch break. I want to go and have a look around at some bookshops if I've got time. I had a look online before I came down here, and there's this LGBT bookshop that's also a cafe, I think. So I'm going to see if I can find that tomorrow. So maybe by the time I'm home, I will be able to tell you my final thoughts. But yeah, just know so far this is a 5-star prediction. I don't like to predict at this point that a book is going to be 5 stars, just in case the ending is disappointing. But I am loving this so far.
I ain't never been one to not follow the signs. You're looking like a one-way. Gotta make the right choice. Hope I make the right noise. Hoping that you like boys like me. I know you're feeling me from across the room. I got a feeling you could be my muse. I hear strange when I see you. You say green, but I see blue. Either way, your eyes the ones I'm looking to. When I'm hell first, falling from heaven, baby. Living on a prayer that you catch and save me. I was unaware of our elevation till I looked down. All the people look like it's now high.
Hello everyone, it is now Thursday and I am feeling very sluggish today because I got back from Brighton around 10:30 last night, and obviously I've been working all day today, so yeah, my brain feels a little bit tired. But I wanted to do a quick update because I actually ended up finishing Yellowface while I was down in Brighton. I actually stayed up until like midnight on the Tuesday because I was obsessed and I couldn't put it down. I don't know whether to give this a 4 or 5 stars. I ran it through Corpile and it came out as a 4.5, but I might round up depending on how long it sticks with me because I really enjoyed it. I don't think it's going to be a book for everyone, and I will say it's completely different to RF Kuang's other books. So even if you loved the Poppy War series and Babel, I don't think that necessarily means that you're also going to like Yellowface. Obviously I enjoyed all 3, but the tone of Yellowface and even the writing style felt completely different. It's very contemporary, it's very fast paced, and it has this easy breezy writing style that means that it just flows and flows, and it's the kind of book where I think you could easily read it in one sitting. The main reason I can see some people not liking this is because the main character is very unlikable, and she's been deliberately written that way because this is a very satirical look at the publishing industry and the online book community, but the main character is not meant to be likeable. She's written in a very over-exaggerated way, and I personally found it really interesting being inside her mind, but I think it's all down to personal preference. Like, some people I know just don't like reading about unlikable characters. So yeah, that's the main reason why I can see this book being very divisive, and also there's quite a lot of pop culture references, which, yeah, I know, again, some people just don't like. Yeah, I don't think I want to say much more because obviously this book doesn't come out until May, but I would recommend this if the plot interests you and if you're looking for something that's very juicy and just so completely compulsively readable. Trigger warnings for sexual assault and also suicidal thoughts. This was dark in places, but I don't know whether I'd say it was dark enough to be categorised as like a horror or a thriller, but it did have some of those elements. I don't know what I want to pick up next. I'm thinking maybe The Skeleton Key by Erin because I think I'm in the mood for it. I want something that's a little bit darker and that's got really good atmosphere, maybe a mystery and some family drama. So I think I might make a start on this tonight if I don't fall asleep and then I'll let you know some thoughts once I have them. Hello everyone and happy Friday. I wanted to let you know that I did start The Skeleton Key last night. I read, I think, the first 10 to 20% and obviously I'm not that far in, but I'm liking it so far. far, I've been meaning to read more books by Erin Kelly for a while because I read Watch Her Fall a few years ago and really liked it. I think it is still one of my favourite mysteries because I really liked how unique it was and how it had this really great atmosphere. There was some really interesting twists, so I'm hoping for something similar from The Skeleton Key. This book is basically about a family. So the main character that we're following is called Nell, and her father wrote this book back in like the 70s or 80s, and this book I think is based on a real book. The book was basically a treasure map. So there were 7 clues that people could try and solve, and it would take them to real places around England where they could find real treasure. This book and this mystery gained quite a large following, and even now today, like, people are still talking about this book on forums and on Facebook pages, and now it's the 50th anniversary of when this book was published. So Nell's family are having this reunion, but also there's a documentary that's being made, and there's a new mystery that people can solve. So that's kind of the basic setup of the plot, but yeah, so far really liking it. I really like the writing, I like the atmosphere, and my intrigue at the moment is sky high, so I can't wait to get back to this. I'm going to try and read some more tonight and then over the weekend. I feel like this is going to be a good book to theorise about. I feel like the further that I get into it, the more theories that I'm going to be able to come up with, and I love a book like that. So yeah, once I get a little further into it, I'll give some more thoughts, but so far, so good. I feel like it's hooked me right from the beginning, which is always a good sign. I have just got home from Birmingham. I think I mentioned I was going to see Titanic, the musical, which, by the way, is nothing like the movie Titanic. It was still really good though. We saw the matinee, so we went in a little bit early to have breakfast and stuff. But yeah, it was really good. It made me cry. And I did manage to get some reading done as well on the way there and back. So I'm now around 40% of the way through The Skeleton Key. Not 40%, sorry, I think I'm about 30% of the way through. It's moving quite slowly, but I like it. I wouldn't describe it as a thriller. I'd describe it more as a family drama that has thrilling elements, and it's also a little bit gothic as well. I really like the atmosphere. It's a little more character driven than I usually prefer. However, I think it works for this story. I haven't worked out yet what direction this story is going to go in, but I like that there's been a few little twists and turns. I like just in general the story and how it's based on a real book. I was hoping to finish it by tomorrow, but because it's a lot slower paced than I was expecting, I don't know if that's going to happen. But I was thinking about it, and I'm sure with Watch Her Fall, I'm pretty sure that was very slow paced in the beginning, but things really picked up in the second half, so maybe it'll be a similar case with this. Good morning. It is now Sunday, and I am about to pop into town because I really want to make some new challenge cards for my TBR game, so I need to pick up some card or something that I can use to make more prompt cards. But yeah, that's the plan for this morning, and then this afternoon I want to chill and read on the sofa because I am tired. This week has been really busy, as you might have gathered, so I want to relax and read my book because I'm really enjoying The Skeleton Key. I'm about 60% of the way through now. I was reading it last night and I was struggling to put it down, and then the same happened this morning. I read for a couple of hours when I woke up, but yeah, in a way I feel like I'm almost too invested in the story because there's been so much build build up, and if the ending is disappointing, then I'm going to be disappointed overall. I just feel that invested in what's going on. So yeah, fingers crossed for a satisfying conclusion. I do find the direction that it's going in really intriguing. I was expecting this to focus more on solving riddles and breaking these puzzles, and it's not really. The main character Nell doesn't care about solving these puzzles, so she just kind of skims over them whenever they're mentioned. So yeah, that was a little disappointing, but I'm not sad about the direction that this is going in. I realised as well why this book is taking me so long to finish, because it's over 500 pages, and I don't know how I missed that. I think it's because I've got an arc of this through NetGalley. It actually came out towards the end of last year, but I'm only just getting around to reading the arc. So yeah, I didn't realise how long this book is, but thankfully it is moving at a steady pace. I feel like actually the middle dragged a little bit, but I'm not bored. I can see some people actually maybe finding this boring if you don't care about family drama, but I like that stuff. The whole plot centres around this obsession that people have with this book and this game, and I think it's been done really well. There's this slow building tension where I feel like we have been building up to something. I'm just still working out what that is. Nell is the kind of character who holds a lot of resentment towards her parents because of the way that this book impacted on her life, and she's not the most likeable at times. I don't dislike her, but she is very resentful towards this situation, understandably, to be fair. Like, you learn quite quickly why she hates this book, and so I'm fully on her side. It's not a linear timeline either, so there's a timeline in the present day where you're following this main character Nell, who's now in her 40s, but then there's also occasional flashbacks to the past where you follow her parents and also her parents' best friends. I don't really know how to explain it, but basically on the one side of the family tree you have Nell's parents, and then on the other side you have their best friends. So there were these two couples that were best friends back in the 70s, and they ended up living next door to each other, and they had kids who then went on to have their own kids, and that's kind of the setup of this very close-knit family, and I really love all of the drama. Considering that there's so many characters, I'm actually following it quite easily. So yeah, hoping to finish that today, because the next book I'm going to be picking up is Happy Place by Emily Henry, which I'm really excited about. I should have mentioned actually, 3 of the books that I'm reading for this vlog are all arcs that I got through NetGalley. I just saw this as a good opportunity of clearing through my NetGalley shelf with this vlog idea. So yeah. I have also actually started an audiobook which will fit into this vlog idea, but I'll tell you about that once I'm a little further into it. But yeah, so far I feel like this vlog is going pretty well, which I shouldn't be surprised at because I have already given these authors 5 stars before, so it's not a surprise that I'm also loving other books by them.
Did you fall a long way down?
So last night I ended up finishing The Skeleton Key by Erin Kelly. I was obsessed with this book. I am going to give it 5 stars. However, I don't think it's perfect, and it's one of those books where even though I've given it 5 stars, I don't feel that confident recommending it, because I was looking through some negative reviews on Goodreads and a lot of people haven't liked this because it's very slow and it's too long. long, which I do agree with. I don't think it needed to be over 500 pages. I think the synopsis is also a little misleading because I was expecting this to be an adventure story. I thought we were going to be traveling the country, solving all these clues, a bit like the movie National Treasure, I think it's called. That's the kind of vibe that I was expecting, and it's not like that at all. I actually think if you like Ruth Ware's books, then that's the closest comparison I can think of, but I really like Erin Kelly's writing. Obviously, I've given 2 of her books 5 stars now, so I need to check out some of her backlist. Most of the characters were unlikable, and it did get quite dark in places and a little bit sad, but even though I didn't care about the characters, I loved the mystery and the slow burning atmosphere. I thought it was really well done. I thought that Erin Kelly did a fantastic job of building out this very complicated family and these really toxic relationships. I loved how the plot was very layered, and there was so much to be revealed. There were a lot of different subplots as well. It was quite complicated and it took it took my brain a lot of brain power to get my head around. I'm not making sense, am I? I felt a lot of emotions while reading this, but I loved how unique it was, and yeah, I think if you do like family sagas, then I would recommend it. I would recommend checking the trigger warnings as well if you're interested in this book, but I will definitely be picking up anything that Erin Kelly publishes next. I think I mentioned yesterday I have now started into an audiobook, so I'm currently listening to Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert, which is a YA romance. So not my usual genre, however I have loved other books by Talia Hibbert, obviously, because of the theme of this vlog, but I think it was Eve Brown that I gave 5 stars, and then I possibly also gave Danny Brown 5 stars. I know I gave Chloe Brown 4 stars, but I have given books by Talia Hibbert 5 stars before. I don't think this is going to be a 5 stars, but I'm really enjoying it so far. I do like listening to YA on audio because I find it quite comforting. This is basically following 2 main characters, Celine and Bradley, who used to be best friends, however now they're not, and they're kind of academic rivals because they're both super smart, and there's this opportunity for them to win a scholarship, so they've gone on this like expedition type thing where they're competing against each other, except they're not really because there's more than one scholarship up for grabs. But yeah, it's been really cute so far. I really like the characters and how there's this grumpy sunshine dynamic. That's always one of my favourite tropes. There's also OCD rep, which I can't speak on how accurate it is, but it feels like it's been done in a very sensitive way so far. So yeah, I think I'm going to listen to some more of this evening if I go to the gym, and then hopefully by the time I finish this vlog I can give you my final thoughts. But yeah, I don't have many like detailed thoughts on it so far. It's just really cute, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. So I have finished reading Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert, and I think I'm gonna give this 4 stars. I didn't do a midway update or anything like that because I didn't feel like I had much to say other than I was enjoying it and it was really cute. I was really curious to see whether Talia Hibbert's writing would translate from adult to YA, and I think it did. I thought that the characters were believable and they felt like 17-year-olds, but in a realistic way rather than in an annoying way. Would really recommend the audiobook if you are interested in this book because it has 2 narrators and I thought they did a really good job of bringing the characters to life. So yeah, 4 stars. Like I said, the only reason it's not getting a 5 stars is because I don't think it's going to stick with me long term, and also I was expecting more from the plot. I feel like the synopsis leads you to believe that the expedition side of things is going to be a bigger part of the plot than it actually was. This was very character driven. So yeah, if you like that, then I would recommend this, and I would also recommend this just in general if you like YA contemporaries.
No one like you.
So I have made a start on the final book that I'm going to be reading for this vlog, which is A Happy Place by Emily Henry. And of all the books that I'm reading for this vlog, this is the one that I was most nervous about, because I really enjoyed Beach Read by Emily Henry, gave it 5 stars when I read it in 2020. However, every book that I've read by Emily Henry since then has gone down in rating. So I gave People We Meet on Vacation 4 stars, and then Book Lovers I gave 3 stars, and I was kind of being generous. So yeah, I was a little bit nervous, especially because it's a second chance romance, which isn't my favourite trope. However, I'm a third of the way through, and so far I'm really liking it. I really like the characters, and I think they have good banter and good chemistry. So yeah, so far so good. I'm a little bit nervous about what direction this is going to go in, because I have a few predictions, which I'm obviously not going to talk about, but just based on stuff that's happened and stuff that's been said, I'm worried about what's going to happen further down in this book. But so far so good. It's really entertaining. We're basically following this main character called Harriet, and when she was in college she had this really close friendship group that she's still close with now. They don't get to see each other that often because they live quite far apart, but they always make the effort to meet up once a year at this beach house. I think it's a beach house, but they always meet up once a year at this place where they used to go back when they were in college. Things are a little bit different this year though, because Harriet and her now ex-fiance Win have broken up. They broke up 5 months ago, but they haven't told their friends yet. So Harriet arrives at this week away expecting to tell everyone there and then. However, things don't go to plan, because when she arrives she finds out that her other friend, who doesn't know that Harriet and Win have broken up, her friend has called Win and insisted that he has to be there because she's got something that she needs to tell everyone. So yeah, they end up in this tricky situation where their friends don't know that they've split up, but they can't tell anyone until the end of the week. And I do kind of understand why they're keeping their breakup a secret now, but I don't really agree with it because it's not what I would do. I would have told my friends 5 months ago. But anyway, once I've got past that whole situation, I mean, I knew that it was going to be a thing based on the blurb, but yeah, once I got past that, I have started to really enjoy this. Like I said, I really like the characters and I really like the friendship group that Emily Henry has created. There's been parts of this book where I've read a sentence and I've thought, okay, wow, that hits a little too close to home, and it's made me feel a little bit uncomfortable just because of the raw emotions that the characters are going through. It's a very realistic romance and the situation feels believable, even though, like I said, I am having to suspend disbelief. So yeah, so far so good. However, I feel like this is one of those books where I love the writing and I like the characters, but my enjoyment is going to be based on the actions of the characters. So I'm not going to know until further further on in the book, whether it's going to be like a 4 or 5 stars or a 2 or 3 stars. Obviously I'm hoping for a 5 stars, because if it's not, then I think I need to stop prioritising Emily Henry's books, because yeah, I haven't enjoyed the last few, and I think I'm just still clinging on to how much I loved Beach Read, but I haven't enjoyed an Emily Henry book this much since Beach Read, so fingers crossed. So I am now around 60% of the way through Happy Place, and I wasn't sure whether to just wait until I finished before filming another update, because I'm still really liking it, but I don't have many more thoughts. I don't think. I have written some notes down, so I'll talk through them and then we can decide if it was worth filming this update before finishing. But yeah, I am hoping to finish it tonight, because I was reading some last night and I was really struggling to put it down. There's something very addictive about this story, which I wasn't expecting, considering I haven't had the best luck with the last 2 Emily Henry books that I read. I mean, to be fair, I liked them, I didn't hate them or anything, so I was expecting to at least like Happy Place, but I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I have so far, especially because it's a second chance romance, which isn't my favourite trope at all. I think the problem with second chance romances is that if I agree with the reasons why a couple have broken up, then I don't want them to get back together, and I need to root for characters in a romance. Otherwise, I just don't really enjoy it. I just feel like I'm reading it for the sake of it. But I feel invested in these characters. I think they have really good chemistry, and I understand why they broke up, but I think there's still a possibility for them to work through their issues in a way that feels satisfying. It's a really slow burn, but I love that, because I think that has helped me to feel invested in these characters. And even outside of the romance, I really love how this book is talking about adult friendships in a really realistic way. I think the characters in the book are around 30, which is a similar age to me, and I can relate so much to how difficult it can be to maintain friendships as an adult. And there was one part where the characters were talking about when they all left college and how it was really sad, like leaving each other, because they were so close and they lived together, and then suddenly they're moving and not living together anymore. Like, I can relate to that a lot. I saw my uni friends recently actually, and we all used to live together back when we were like 20, 21, and it does take a lot of effort, I think, to maintain friendships when you're an adult, especially when you do live far away. So yeah, like I said, I am hoping to finish it this evening, and I'm hoping, I don't want to say it's going to be a 5 stars. We've established this, I think, in the vlog already, but I don't like to predict at this stage that a book is going to be 5 stars, because I feel like there's still time for this book to annoy me, depending on the resolution of the situation. And I have theories on what I think is going to happen, but yeah, obviously I don't know. So if what I think is going to happen does happen, then I'm going to be annoyed. But if it goes in a different direction, then I think I'm going to be okay with it. I'm really hoping that I can make it through this clip before my camera battery dies. But I wanted to let you know that I have now finished Happy Place by Emily Henry, and I don't even need to run it through Corpile. I'm giving it 5 stars. I loved this book, and it was quite intense at times. I felt like I was going to cry towards the end, because I was just so overwhelmed with all of these emotions, and I wasn't expecting it. I mean, I liked the romance, but I think it was the portrayal of friendship that I loved the most, and it felt a little bit uncomfortable and awkward at times, because there were certain situations where, because I felt like I knew these characters, I was getting secondhand embarrassment just watching the events unfold. I'm really curious to see what other people think of this, because it's only been out a few days. It came out on Tuesday or Wednesday, I think. It might have came out yesterday. I can't remember, but it's out now. And I'm really curious to see what other people think think of this because I reckon this is my favourite Emily Henry, and I don't know whether it's because it's been a long time since I read Beach Read, but I think I liked this as much, if not more, than Beach Read. I'm actually really concerned that I'm going to burn out soon because I've been really enjoying everything that I've been reading so far, to the point where I'm struggling to not read, so I'm worried that I can't maintain that and at some point in the next few weeks my brain is just going to be like, nope, no more reading, put the books down and let's relax. But I am really excited for April because I feel like I'm in a reading mood. I feel like I've got that drive to keep on reading. So yeah, my plan this weekend is to film my May TBR and also my April wrap up. So yeah, those should be coming out after this vlog, but for now I'm gonna wrap things up here because this vlog has gone on for a lot longer than I was originally planning, but I've really enjoyed the last few weeks. I feel like I've read some great books, and yeah, like I said, I feel like I'm in a really good reading mood at the moment. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, let me know in the comments if you've read any of the books that I've talked about and what you thought of them. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and click subscribe if you would like to see more videos from me, but otherwise I will see you next time. Bye.